The rover's camera zoomed in. There, just a few hundred feet away, was an object that looked completely artificial. It was metallic, angular, and reflecting the weak Martian sun. NASA rerouted the rover for a high-priority investigation, but the closer it got, the more terrifying the mission became. The object itself was a mystery, but what the rover found near it was what truly shocked the world. We'll show you the images that NASA experts are still struggling to explain and the horrifying truth they may have uncovered. The pixel that changed everything Mars, across the darkest, coldest void we know. It's a world of profound, terrifying silence. The air is 99% carbon dioxide, so thin it can't hold heat. At night, the temperature plummets to minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The surface is blasted by cosmic radiation that would end a human in weeks. This is the world our rovers call home. They are not just explorers, they are survivors. Our story begins with the toughest of them all, Curiosity. This rover is a 1-ton nuclear-powered beast. It's the size of a small car, built to withstand the worst Mars can throw at it. For over a decade, it has been making a lonely, epic climb up a 3-mile-high mountain called Mount Sharp. This mountain is a stack of layered rock, a history book of Mars. Curiosity's job is to read that book, to find out if this frozen desert was once warm, wet, and teeming with life. It was on Martian Day, or Sol, 3737. The rover was on autopilot, its internal AI following a drive plan sent from Earth. Its high-resolution eyes, a pair of cameras on its head called the mast cam, were scanning the terrain ahead. They were looking for hazards, sharp rocks, soft sand traps, anything that could trap this billion-dollar machine forever. Then, a single pixel flashed. In the endless sea of dull, reddish-brown dust, one pixel in the camera's sensor registered a value of pure, glaring white. It was a reflection, sunlight glinting off something that had no business being there. You see, on Mars, nothing is supposed to glint. The planet is a ball of rust, iron oxide. Everything is matte, dull, and ancient. A metallic shine is not just an anomaly, it's a contradiction. The rover's onboard AI flagged the image. Object of interest. That tiny data packet, just a few kilobytes, began its long journey home. It rocketed from the rover to the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, which then beamed it across the solar system. For 18 agonizing minutes, it traveled at the speed of light, finally hitting the Deep Space Network dishes in California. At NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or JPL, the image loaded onto the screen of a junior scientist. A glint. The team's heart rates quickened. This was not a maybe. This was not a trick of the light. This was metal. The order was given. Fast and decisive. Scrap the drive plan. Halt all other science. The rover's new and only mission was to get to that object. It took the rover 2 full sols to get there. It had to navigate around a dangerous patch of wind-blown dunes, its 6-ton aluminum wheels carefully picking a path. The team at JPL watched, breathless, as the rover slowly approached the target. And then, the new images came in. They called it Cacao. It was small, only about a foot across, but it was bizarre. It was a dark, almost purplish-black color with strange rounded dimples all over its surface. These dimples, called regmeglips, are the classic sign of a meteorite, formed as the object's surface melted during its fiery passage through the atmosphere. And, most importantly, it was shiny. Broken patches on its surface revealed a bright silvery interior. NASA put out the official press release. It was an iron-nickel meteorite, a visitor from the asteroid belt, a leftover piece of our solar system's birth. An interesting find, they said, a piece of space history. But the thing nobody tells you is that behind closed doors, the conversation was very different. What many overlooked were the details, the dimples. They looked too uniform, too perfect. The object's shape. It wasn't just a random lumpy rock. It looked, to put it mildly, sculpted, almost like a piece of industrial slag, the byproduct of some massive, high-temperature forge. The wild theories were already starting, but NASA had a tool to solve this. The rover extended its 7-foot-long robotic arm. At the end is an instrument called ChemCam. It fires a laser 3 times hotter than the sun's surface. At its target, it instantly vaporizes a pinhead-sized spot, creating a tiny puff of plasma. A spectrometer then reads that plasma, telling scientists exactly what it's made of. The laser fired. The data came back. Iron, nickel. This seemed to confirm the meteorite theory, but it also contained other trace elements, things that bothered the scientists. High-density phosphides, strange crystalline bands that only form when metal cools impossibly slowly over millions of years, deep inside the core of a planet-sized body. This was a wow factor moment. This single rock proved that planet-sized objects had formed and been destroyed in our early solar system. This was an amazing discovery, but it wasn't the scary part. The team was so focused on cacao that they almost missed it. The camera, while framing the shot, had panned just a few feet to the left. And there, lying in the red sand, was another piece of metal. It was this second object, this second image, that truly terrified them, because this piece of metal wasn't from an asteroid. It wasn't from space at all. It was from Earth. The rover was not alone. It had found the wreckage of a previous mission. Itself. We are falling apart. The image that loaded onto the screens at JPL was horrifying. Lying in the red sand just inches from the ancient alien cacao object was a small 4-inch piece of silvery gray metal. It was perfectly machined. It had threads, grooves, and a distinct sharp edge. The team recognized it instantly. They didn't even need to check the blueprints. It was the broken off tip of Curiosity's own drill. They called it Sample Bit 12. Let that sink in. The Rover, a $7 billion marvel of engineering, the most advanced, toughest explorer ever sent to another world, was falling apart. This was a catastrophic failure. The drill is the rover's entire purpose. It's designed to punch through the hardest Martian rock, collect a powder sample, and feed it into the rover's internal laboratories. This bit was made of a specialized, heat-treated steel, engineered to withstand immense force. And it had snapped. A panicked silence fell over mission control. This wasn't supposed to happen. They scrambled, digging back through months of engineering data, looking for the moment of failure, and they found it. Sol 2941. Months earlier, the rover had been trying to drill a rock nicknamed Citadel. As the drill began to spin, its percussion hammer, a powerful internal mechanism that pounds the bit like a jackhammer, roared to life. The sensors reported normal strain, then high strain, then impossible strain. The motor's power readings spiked to 1,000%. Emergency warnings flooded the system. The rover, in a moment of autonomous self-preservation, performed an emergency stop. The percussion motor was silent, fried. The team knew something was wrong. They suspected the bit had gotten jammed, but they hoped it was just stuck, that they could wriggle it free. They never imagined it had been torn clean off. For months, the rover had been driving around, its broken drill bit rattling inside the mechanism, a ticking time bomb. And then, in a moment of pure, terrifying cosmic irony, the bit had vibrated loose. It had fallen out, landing in the red dust right next to another alien piece of metal. The image was a punch to the gut. It was a perfect, terrible symbol. On the left, the ancient shattered remnant of a spacefaring object from the dawn of time. On the right, the brand new shattered remnant of humanity's best technology. Mars, the great red graveyard, had claimed them both. The planet was not a passive museum. It was an active, hostile environment that breaks things. But this is where the real story begins, the one NASA doesn't want to talk about. The wild theories went into overdrive, because you see, many people are crazy about this. The break was too clean. A leaked internal memo, whispered about on engineering forums, told a different story. The break on Sample Bit 12 wasn't a jagged stress fracture, the kind you'd get from a jam. The report called it a torsional shear point failure. That's not a break. That's a cut. What if the Citadel rock wasn't just a rock? What if it was harder than any material the rover was designed for? What if it was artificial? Or what if something broke the drill? The rover is alone. Or is it? For years, operators have noted anomalies, strange, fleeting shadows in the corners of images, unexplained sensor glitches, and the sounds. Perseverance's rover has a microphone, and it has captured the high-pitched whine of the Martian wind. But it has also captured clicks, sharp rhythmic tapping sounds that NASA blames on the rover's own metal body heating and cooling. But what if it's not? The terrifying capture wasn't just a broken piece of metal, it was the implication. The implication that we are not just exploring, we are trespassing, and the planet is fighting back. This wasn't even the first sign. The rover's wheels are a disaster. They are made of aerospace-grade aluminum, half a millimeter thick. They were designed to last for years. But just a few years into the mission, they started to fall apart. The images are shocking. They are full of holes, gaping, jagged tears. The sharp Martian rocks are not just wearing them down. They are shredding them. The aluminum is flayed, peeling back like the rind of a fruit. The rover is quite literally being eaten alive by the planet. The scientists at NASA had to face a horrifying new reality. Their multi-billion-dollar asset was bleeding, breaking down, and millions of miles from the nearest repair shop. And it was all happening in a place that, the closer they looked, was getting much, much stranger. The rover wasn't just finding metal, it was finding things that looked alive. A pattern of life? The discovery of the broken drill bit was a crisis. The rover was vulnerable, its mission in jeopardy. But what many overlooked was the location where all this was happening. Curiosity was driving through a part of Mount Sharp known as the sulfate-bearing unit. This place is a chemical gold mine. Billions of years ago, this was the last place on the mountain to have water. As the final salty lakes and rivers evaporated, they left behind thick deposits of mineral salts. It's exactly the kind of place where you might find the preserved, mummified remains of ancient life. And that's when the rover found Gitas Vallis. This is a wow factor place, even for scientists. It's a channel carved by a massive debris flow, a catastrophic muddy avalanche that roared down the mountain long after Mars was supposed to be cold, dry, and dead. This was proof of geologically recent water, and in the fine-grained mudstone of this ancient channel, the rover found the honeycombs. These weren't big, they were tiny. A vast, intricate network of hexagonal voids, each no bigger than a pencil eraser, etched deep into the rock. They were geometric. They were ordered. They were everywhere. NASA's official explanation was, to put it mildly, unsatisfying. They claimed this was a natural process. They said that as the salty brines evaporated, salt crystals formed in the mud. Then, over millions of years, the wind blasted the rock, eroding the softer crystals and leaving behind the harder, honeycomb-shaped voids where they used to be. A simple case of salt dissolution. But, you see, many scientists, even at NASA, weren't buying it. The pattern was too perfect. The hexagonal shape is one of the most efficient and common shapes in all of biology. Bees use it for their hives. Wasp nests use it. It is the very structure of complex organic molecules. The wild theories exploded. What if these weren't salt crystals? What if they were trace fossils? The preserved, mineralized network of an ancient microbial mat? Or, to go even further, the burrowing patterns of some tiny ancient Martian creature? The thing nobody tells you is that this isn't the first time we've seen impossible geometry on Mars. Remember the face on Mars in the Cydonia region captured by the Viking orbiter in the 1970s? A massive, mile-long formation that looked exactly like a human face, staring up into the void. And right next to it, the Pyramids of Cydonia. A cluster of five-sided, perfectly formed mountains that mirrored the layout of pyramids on Earth. NASA, of course, debunked it all. It's just light and shadow, they claimed. Tricks of the mind. And later, high-resolution images showed they were just eroded mountains. Or were they? What if the face and pyramids were just the macro version of what Curiosity was now finding? What if the honeycombs are the micro version? What if it's all one thing? A geometric signature, a calling card, left behind by something that builds. This wasn't an isolated find. The rover kept finding anomalies. Remember the blueberries? Tiny, perfectly spherical balls of iron ore that the Opportunity rover found littering the plains of Meridiani. Millions of them. NASA said they were natural concretions formed by water. But again, too perfect. Nature is messy. It rarely makes millions of perfect marbles. What if they weren't rocks? What if they were eggs? Then Curiosity found the sulfur. In that same Gitas Vallis, the rover's laser zapped a patch of pale yellowish ground. The readings went off the charts. It was almost pure, elemental sulfur. On Earth, pure sulfur blooms like this are found in only two places: at the vents of active volcanoes, or as the waste product of specific types of bacteria, microbes that eat rock and exhale sulfur. Mars has no active volcanoes. The implication was staggering. The rover may have stumbled upon the chemical signature of active life, or at the very least, the remnants of a recent life-supporting hot spring, like a miniature Yellowstone. This changes everything. We are told Mars is a dead, frozen world, but the evidence, from the metallic debris to the honeycomb structures to the sulfur blooms, paints a different picture. It paints a picture of a planet that is geologically and maybe even biologically active, and it's all tied back to the metal. The iron-nickel meteorites like cacao are more than just rocks. They are catalysts. When iron and nickel touch water and carbon dioxide, they can create organic molecules. They can power microbial fuel cells. What if the terrifying part isn't that Mars is dead? What if the terrifying part is that Mars is alive, and it's a kind of life that we simply don't understand? A kind of life that sees our rovers as nothing more than a new source of refined metal. The mystery of the clean break on the drill bit was suddenly cast in a new, sinister light. The rover wasn't just breaking, it was being probed. The anomalies were piling up, and NASA was about to capture something impossible. The thing that wasn't a comet. The rover was in trouble. It was damaged, limping, and finding things that defied easy explanation. The cacao meteorite raised questions about artificial objects. The broken drill bit raised questions about the rover's own survival. And the honeycomb rocks hinted at a biology that science couldn't explain. But Mars wasn't done. The planet had one more wow factor to reveal. And this one wasn't on the ground. It was in the sky. In 2023, at the same time Curiosity was dealing with its metallic mystery, the other rover, Perseverance, was in Jezero Crater, and it was pointing its cameras up. It was doing something routine, watching the moons of Mars. Mars has two tiny lumpy moons, Phobos and Deimos. They are thought to be captured asteroids. Perseverance has captured stunning images of them, including a solar eclipse in 2022, where the potato-shaped Phobos passed in front of the sun. It was a spectacular 30-second event, but in 2023, all the assets at Mars, rovers and orbiters, were tasked with looking for something new. A new visitor had just entered our solar system. It was named Comet 3I Atlas. The I in its name stands for interstellar. This wasn't a local comet born from our own solar system. This was a rogue, a 100-meter-wide chunk of ice and rock hurled from another star system, zipping past Mars at an insane speed of over 67,000 miles per hour. And Perseverance, from the surface of another planet, captured an image of it. This was a first, the first time an interstellar object had been imaged from a world other than Earth. It was a pale sodium yellow glow in the sky, a visitor from the deep interstellar dark. But you see, the wild theories were just getting started. Many people are crazy about this idea. What if these interstellar objects aren't just random? The arrival of 3I Atlas came just a few years after Oumuamua, the first confirmed interstellar visitor. Oumuamua was a sensation, a global what-if moment. It was tumbling end over end. It was dark, red, and shiny. It was shaped like a cigar, hundreds of feet long. And the most chilling part, it accelerated as it left our solar system. It sped up. NASA claimed it was outgassing, ice melting, and acting like a tiny thruster, but observations showed no gas trail, no tail, no coma. A top Harvard astronomer, Avi Loeb, went on record. He didn't just suggest it, he stated it. The object's acceleration, its shape, and its shine were all consistent with one thing: a piece of alien technology, a light sail, a probe from another civilization designed to ride on beams of starlight. Now, connect the dots. We have Oumuamua, a metallic cigar-shaped interstellar object that accelerated. We have Comet 3I Atlas, an interstellar object captured from the surface of Mars. And on the surface of Mars, we have Cacao and Lebanon, metallic objects that look suspiciously like processed debris. Here is the part they don't want you to know. The ChemCam did get a full reading from Cacao before the mission was diverted to the broken drill. That data was classified. Why? A source inside JPL, who remains anonymous, claimed the readings were impossible. The iron-nickel alloy. It had impurities, isotope ratios of rare earth metals that do not exist in our solar system. They could not have formed here. Cacao and Oumuamua are the same. One is a ship, The other is its shrapnel. What if cacao isn't a meteorite at all? What if it's a piece of wreckage, the broken engine component of an interstellar probe, just like Oumuamua, that failed? What if Mars, with its thin atmosphere and stable frozen surface, is the perfect museum for this debris, a place where it can lie, undisturbed, for eons, unlike Earth, where oceans and plate tectonics would destroy it in a few million years? The terrifying capture suddenly takes on a whole new meaning. The broken drill bit lying next to the alien cacao isn't a coincidence. It's a conversation. It's the wreckage of our newest technology, lying next to the wreckage of something ancient and alien. The implications are, to put it mildly, world-ending. It means that interstellar travel is possible. It means that they have been here. And it means that their technology, just like ours, breaks. The silence from NASA on this connection is, to many, deafening. They release the pictures: the cacao meteorite, the broken drill bit, the honeycomb rocks, the interstellar comet, but they refuse to connect them. They present each one as a separate, isolated, natural phenomenon. But the people watching, the people really looking at the data, see the pattern. It's not a pattern of geology, it's a pattern of wreckage. Mars isn't a graveyard for its own life, it's a graveyard for visitors, and our rover just added its own piece to the collection. This brings us to the final chilling question. Are we next? Silence of the Red Planet. We are left with a story that is far more terrifying than any one single image. It's a narrative built from puzzle pieces, each one more disturbing than the last. We have the cacao object, a metallic interstellar piece of shrapnel that NASA claims is a simple meteorite. We have the broken drill bit, the terrifying capture that proves Mars is an engine of destruction, a place that cuts our most advanced technology. We have the honeycombs and sulfur, natural formations that look suspiciously biological, hinting at a world that is not as dead as we were told. And we have the interstellar visitors, Oumuamua and Three-Eye Atlas, celestial ghosts that prove other technologies are, right now, zipping through our cosmic neighborhood. So, what is the core truth? People watching this are looking for the mystery, for the one key detail we're all missing. And the thing is, maybe we've been asking the wrong question. We ask, was there life on Mars? Maybe the real question is Mars the reason there is no life in our galaxy? This is the Great Filter Theory. It's a dark, terrifying idea in science. It says that on the path from simple life to a galaxy-spanning civilization, there is a filter, a barrier so hard to overcome that almost no one makes it. It could be nuclear war, it could be climate change, or it could be something else. This is why the universe is so silent. We point our telescopes at billions of stars and hear nothing. What if Mars is the great filter? What if, on every Earth-like planet, a Mars planet also exists? A slightly less perfect neighbor. And what if that planet, like Mars, is bombarded by interstellar seeds? Think about it. The wild theory suggests that meteorites like cacao or probes like Oumuamua, seed planets with the building blocks of life, or something else. Life begins on a watery world like Earth. It evolves, becomes intelligent, and reaches for the stars. It lands on its Mars, and then it stops. What do you think? Is Mars just a dead planet with weird rocks? Or is it an ancient technological graveyard that's actively destroying our rovers? Was this an accident or a warning? Let us know your theories below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more mysteries.